Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne Berg, and this is The Ageless Traveler. Boy, I have somebody for you today. Her name is Merle Rosenstein, and she is a culinary and travel food writer. She's a journalist in the world of travel. She just came back about 3 weeks ago from Thailand. We're going to be discussing that. Maybe you don't associate Thailand with the best of food, but you will now. We're going to be talking about the hill tribes and her experience there. And then we're also going to be talking about something so important, and that is the way you become a culinary and wine writer. So you guys are in for a real treat. Merle, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Adrian, for having me. I'm really looking forward to speaking this afternoon.
Well, this is really going to be dishing because both of us have had some similar experiences and very different ones. But I want to start with the name that you have. Now, we're going to be posting this gorgeous logo of Merle as a superhero, and she calls herself the Super Bubbie. What does that mean, and why did you choose that as your avatar, as they would say these days?
Well, I retired a few years ago, and when I retired, I wanted to do travel writing, and it was important to me that it be for my audience, which is women and men over 60. And so I came up with the name Super Booby as a senior superhero who fearlessly travels and makes the most of life over 60.
And you're a backpacker. I'm a little bit different. I do luxury travel all over the world, been to 121 countries, but I got good mattresses. So why did you choose that kind of travel lifestyle?
Well, we started traveling with our kids. And when we did that, we visited Spain and different countries in Europe. And we always tried to take as little as possible because, with two kids, especially teenagers, you don't want to get into having to schlep too much stuff.
Right.
So we got really good at taking less and just really doing double duty on different things rather than bringing, 100 pairs of shorts or whatever. So we really streamlined things at that time.
It's a little bit different. My son, when he was 11, met a kids camping, and they asked him if he ever camped. And he
Mm.
said, no, but I did once go to a hotel that had no room service. So over him, he learned from his parents. And by the way, shameless plug, one of our wonderful supporters is Luggage Free, where they take your luggage for you anywhere in the world. So you don't have
Oh.
to schlep. Okay. Now, speaking of that word schlep, which for those who don't know, it means drag things from one place to another. You do schlep around the world. So
Mm.
let's start with that part of it. Now, you have a niche, a very special niche,
Mhm.
culinary and wine travel. There are culinary and wine tours, very, very famous all over the world.
Mhm.
What's been some of the finest that you have experienced?
First of all, I'll mention that I have a level 2 designation in Wine and Spirit Education Trust, which is an international wine and drinks designation. And I would say that I've been very fortunate. I've gone on different press trips with my writing. And so one of the press trips was to Chile, which is a very exciting wine destination. And I spent a week with some other journalists crossing the country and trying different wines. And that was great. We went to wineries, we walked through the fields, we were given food and wine pairings. That would be my favorite trip.
I'm a white wine drinker and a Prosecco drinker, and I do not drink hard alcohol. So I've become a real aficionado, and I've done the Prosecco Trail, which is in Italy,
Mm.
which is a very separate trail from the wine trail, and I highly recommend that. But I was in Chile, and of course, Chilean wines was a revelation to me because
Mhm.
I hadn't. Aside from being a New Yorker, now I'm in the on the West Coast, so for me it's Napa and Temecula and all the California wine. Chilean wines are wonderful. Now, when you write, I'm going to actually read this because Merle is such a prolific writer that I can't even remember everything. She's written for Wander with Wonder, Quench Magazine, Modern Traveler. She has sipped wines in Spain, all over the world. In the wine, what do you look for to tell people about?
The first thing I look at is the different wineries, and there are different wine awards. There are different winemakers that have been. So I'm looking for a place that has really excellent wines, not just judged by me, but judged by others.
Okay.
I'm also interested in wine personalities. So who are the people behind the wine? And why are they doing what they did? Why vineyards? And then I'm looking for also a wide variety of wines, low alcohol, vegan, and sparkling, red and white. So that's something I look for. And then pairing the wines with food. So are they good with food? Are you going to have a steak? Are you going to have, some bar snacks? So those are some things that I look for.
So it's very interesting for me with Prosecco. For those of you who follow me, you see my picture a lot on social media. I'm almost always have a glass in my hand, almost always. And if you want to know what's in that glass, it's some kind of sparkling, whether it's cava, whether it's Prosecco, whether it's champagne. And I am very particular about the glass. And I want to ask you about the glass. I actually recoiled once, and it was not something intentional. It was just my body went back. And that was in Sorrento, Italy, when they brought me Prosecco in the wrong glass. Because if it's the wrong glass, the bubbles disappear faster. So I really do care about the glass. Do you look at things like that, how it's served, how it's presented?
Yeah, I do, because especially when you're tasting, you're doing a wine tasting, you might be tasting, nine different wines at the same time. Just a little bit. You're not drinking the whole glass. But yeah, it's interesting to me, not only from an oration point of view where the wine gets to breathe depending on the glass, but also from a style point of view. I just think different glasses are beautiful, and especially cut glass. So I do actually focus quite a bit on the glass, especially also when taking photos. It makes a difference.
Makes a big difference. We're down and dirty here. We really bring out things that nobody else wants to talk about. And I want to talk about money. I want to talk
Okay.
about money and wine. So I do drink a single glass. I've got a teetotaling husband. That means wherever we go, we don't buy a bottle, right? So
Mhm.
I can tell you almost to the penny what a Prosecco costs in every part of the world, every ship, every cruise ship, wherever it is, river cruises, in restaurants. The variety of pricing is huge per
Mhm.
glass, about 50 or 100% different for the same wine, depending on where you're going to order it. What
Mhm.
is that exactly about? Is there no competition when it comes to wine? How are prices set? People go on culinary and wine tours and they go and they buy cases or they
Mhm.
join a club, but do they really know about the pricing differences?
Well, there are different factors that contribute to pricing. It's agriculture, it's farming, basically. And so what does it cost to grow the grapes and to harvest the grapes? What sort of processes are there, not only in the field, but also in the cellar? How are they cellaring the wines? And so there are things that do contribute to the cost. And certainly, the more well-known wine may cost more than other wine just because of the demand for it. So, personally, I try and find the best wine that's of good value. So, I might be looking in a lower range of cost than other people, but that's just my own preference.
So true or false? The most expensive wine is the best wine. True or false, in your opinion?
False. I
False.
think that's false. Yeah,
So
I've tasted, really great wine that's expensive, and I've tasted wine that's not, is more reasonable. And I think you can find good wine for a reasonable price.
I will say that my best wine experience was not really because of the wine. I was in Hungary in a cellar cave, and
Mm.
bull's blood, which is not the finest wine in the world, it's a very heavy red wine, was being served. We got smashed. And we somehow I was able to speak five or six languages all of a sudden. It was great. Now, you guys, don't you go anywhere. I want to tell you where we are going next, and then we will be right back. So, where are we going? We are going to Africa. And you can find all about it. I finally have every detail on our website, which is agelesstraveler.com. Just take a look at agelesstraveler.com. Couldn't be easier. Featured trips. And you'll see that we are going in September to Tanzania and to Kenya with Colette Tours. Now, I did a lot of research, and there's no one better to serve the Ageless Traveler than Colette. They've been around for 100 years. They are the oldest tour operator in the United States, and it is a high-end but well-priced tour. Something beautiful. Now, we have included in there also your airfare. Unnecessary. You do not have to use that airfare, but take a look at both prices when you see, because there's an awful lot included in this tour. And yes, it is the traditional, dyed-in-the-wool, real Big Five safari in Kenya and Tanzania. It's the one you want to go to if this is the safari of a lifetime. So please take a look at agelesstraveler.com and come to Africa. We're back with Merle, a traveling culinary writer. We're going to be talking about her Thailand adventure in a minute, but she is also called the Super Bubbie. And that means that she is a superhero. She's our wonderful 60-plus superhero. And wait till you guys see her logo, which we're going to be putting on our social media. You're going to love it. What about the culinary part? Did that come second? Because after all, when you go on these trips, you're usually in a place where the food's fabulous. Or did that come first?
That actually came second because I was tasting all these wines and, thinking about how they would pair with food. And as part of the course that I took, it talked about, how you pair food and wine. So that's sort of where it came from. I'll also say that on a couple of trips, I actually had an issue of alley belly. Yeah. So my goal is to try and find meals that are good for me and to try and prevent that. And so whenever I go to a destination, I carefully research the typical food that they have. And I try and actually visit restaurants in Toronto that have that kind of food just to get myself prepared. And then I, go to the destination and I pick things that I think not only are going to be interesting and different with different ingredients, but kind to my belly.
So that's a great idea. If you go into a place and you're uncertain about the food, and I'm going to tell everybody a little story about that in a minute, go to your local restaurants. And particularly if you're near a big city like Toronto, you can generally find something of every type of cuisine and give it a shot and see how it sits with you, because you don't want to be sick on the road. My little story is that I was misdiagnosed. I'm very happy to say I was misdiagnosed with a kidney ailment before I went to Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia. And I was told you can't eat salt. Now, Vietnamese food is the most salty food in the world. And there I'm going to be for a month. So I learned how to really do what you're talking about, which is choose the foods in Vietnamese cuisine compendium that did not have a lot of salt. And we did it. It was great. Turned out I didn't have to do any of that. I'm happy to say I could have eaten the food. I do want to take this 1 minute to tell everybody who does have a food allergy or really needs low salt or is diabetic, that if you go on a cruise, you're going to be getting salty, sugary foods. It's not necessary. The minute you get on a ship, go to the restaurant manager. They are the most underutilized staff person when it comes to consumer engagement, because you don't know they're there. They're fabulous, they're hardworking, and the minute you meet them, you will not only get the low sodium dishes, deliciously cooked, better than the guy next to you with all the salt. The great, and almost every single cruise ship has fabulous low sugar or no sugar, sugar-free desserts. But you will get the menu the day before. So you're able to know what you're going to eat the next day, and you maybe keep it a secret, or you can tell the person you're with, depends on you. So don't forget the restaurant food manager, one of the best hints and tips for staying healthy on a cruise. All right, now we are back to Merle Rosenstein. And I want to go deeper into the culinary issues here.
Mhm.
You had fabulous meals in Thailand, in Bangkok. We both went to Bangkok separately. I had a fabulous time, but I won't say I had the most fabulous meals. You went to a Michelin star restaurant there. Tell us about that.
So there's a restaurant that's been open for a couple of years. It's called Potong, Potong, and it's run by an owner and chef. Her name is Chef Pam, and her family has lived had lived in Chinatown in a five-story building for over 100 years. And she uses the building with her meals that she prepares for people, in that when you come in the door, you get a welcome drink and you're on the first floor, but you end up going to different floors. Chef Pam has been recognized as one of the best chefs in Thailand, and she's won many awards. She's been a judge on different shows, and she served us a fabulous 20-course meal.
20 courses. How long did it take?
It was 3 hours.
Yes, wonderful. And of those, some of the dishes were.
Some of the dishes were, there's one that was scallop,
Mhm.
and it was in this terrific sweet and sour sauce. There was another dish that was, the main dish was duck, and it was crispy on the outside and, very moist on the inside. So that was fabulous. And then we also had, it was like a sushi bit, and it was covered with red, white, and blue on it. And that's the flag of Thailand.
Interesting. So beautiful. Now, you also went to places that I've been, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and that is typical. If people do go to Thailand, they'll go to Bangkok, Chiang Rai. And you had some wonderful culinary experiences there. Tell us about that.
I would say the best experience I had there was with Hill Tribe family, where when we arrived, we were taken around the farm and then to see, what the ingredients were going to be for the meal. When we got back to the farm, we actually made a meal together. I was, chopping eggplant and stir frying, and actually I wasn't chopping the eggplant thin enough. So
They
so
told you, they gave you instructions.
they gave me, yeah, they kind of got me to do something else, stir
Well,
frying.
they took you off the job. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
It would have thrown me out. I only have a supervised visitation with my stove. They actually do not let me near the stove. I can't, and it's a sad story. People do ask me why I never talk about culinary tours when it's the most popular thing, and I could really make a lot of hay out of it. We've had a wonderful show here with people who are culinary writers, but I don't know much about food, and that is true because I do not eat any meat. I don't eat any shellfish.
Oh.
I do keep low salt, and this is all for health purposes. And so I'm not your best companion. But if you want a prosecco, oh, I can help. I can help you there. Okay, so let's go back. You went with the Hill Tribe Holidays, and
Mhm.
this is not a plug. I do not know who they are, but you say good things about them. Tell us a little bit about what that trip was like in terms of its itinerary.
Well, what was really unique about this tour was that it was private. So it was my partner and I, and the tour leader had gone to these villages, I guess in one case a year ago, and another case more recently, and found young people who wanted to learn English. And then when we got to their when we got to their residences, they took us around, and it was almost like a one-on-one,
Yes.
and you could see that they were benefiting from the experience. We also went to a school, and this was great. We went to the school, the kids were in grade 2, and they were learning English. So our tour guide, Tony, said, okay, now you're going to teach them English. And we weren't sure what was going to happen, but it worked great. We ran through the alphabet with the kids and the numbers in English, and it was an excellent experience, a really great way to get to know the kids a bit better.
Wonderful. Now we're going to take another little bit of a break, and I'm going to tell you, in keeping with our love of volunteering, one experience that I had that you might like to have as well. I went with Overseas Adventure Travel to Machu Picchu, Cusco, Peru, but then they took us up into the Great Andes Mountains, 11,000 feet up, I have to tell you, to a school
Mm.
where we got the opportunity to dance with the children, but then to read to them, of course, in English. It was one of the great experiences of my life. And so I'm very proud that the Ageless Traveler is now an ambassador of Overseas Adventure Travel, giving you a very lovely discount of at least $100 plus many thousands on different trips. So please do go to our website, agelesstraveler.com, go to featured trips, and you will discover all of your discounts for overseas adventure travel. Please use that. It helps support us in all the work that we do. And of course, it saves you money for a wonderful trip. And now we are back, and we're speaking with Merle Rosenstein. Some of the places that you'd like to read some of her material is Quench Magazine, Modern Traveler, Wander with Wonder, and many, many other places. Now, I want to go back to Bangkok because I made an allusion there. I said that I was misdiagnosed and I discovered the issue in Bangkok, and it helped me. So I do medical tourism. I get my teeth done in Mexico, and I discovered a hospital in Bangkok called Bamramgrad. Don't say that fast twice. But it's called Bamramgrad. I'll put it in the show notes. And we go once every 2 years or so and get a checkup, tip-to-toe checkup. And it was there that they discovered that I had been misdiagnosed here
Oh,
in the US. I didn't have any kidney problem actually at all. And I will tell you why, because it deals with the Super Bubbie. Why? Because here and many places, tests for kidney disease are inaccurate after the age of 72.
mm.
They simply don't have the data for people who are active age 77, like me. They just don't know. And of course, we're very angry about that. It's very ageist and it's very terrible. But in other places, they do know better, believe it or not. And Bamramgrad is one of them. So they actually saved me a lot of aggravation, a lot of worry. So let's go back to Super Bubbie. Now, Super Bubbie, in a way, is also a mission. You make
Yes,
a statement here, which is, look at me, I'm not invisible. Tell us
yes.
what it's done for you personally to be Super Bubbie.
It's given me a lot of confidence as I move forward with my writing. When I go into groups of writers, I feel like I do have a mission. And also, when I speak with different destinations, I'm trying to do some education also that, just because I'm over 60 doesn't mean I'm not capable.
Yeah, we have something called ageless tourism where we actually give a badge to tour
Mm.
operators and hotels that are age friendly. And we're doing a
Oh.
webinar on how the eye sees when you get older, because
Mm.
frankly, I can't see the shampoo. And yet we take the most trips, the most expensive trips, people over the age of 60. And we really only 5% of all the marketing dollars in tourism is spent on us. But on a personal basis, the idea of being over the age of 60 and becoming invisible is really getting old and tired because we really aren't tired. We may just be old, but we're not tired. And has it propelled you? I mean, most of us will have 40 years in retirement
Mm.
and not a whole lot to do. So for you, it's changed your life to put on this persona and to be this avatar. And how do people respond to that? Do they say, gee, I'd like to be like that, or it's not for me? What's been your personal dealings, even with friends, when they see you're out and about like this?
Well, people are curious about what Super Bubbie means. What is it? It's not generally known from looking at the word what it might represent. So I do my spiel and I explain where it comes from. And then, sometimes people will say, yeah, that's very cool. I like that. And so that's really helpful because it helps me to know that I'm reaching my audience.
Do you have a travel coming up soon?
Well, my daughter lives in Edinburgh, Scotland, and my other daughter lives in Vancouver. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to go next, possibly Croatia, and that's somewhere that I'm really interested in going.
Well, I have a hint and tip for you on that one. My very favorite river cruise line, which is
Hmm.
Theatrical Adventures, is having an ocean cruise to Croatia at the end of
Oh,
August. And I have been on many, many cruises with them through the Nile, the Danube. They not only have the greatest sightseeing ever, and it's all included, and it's British pounds. This is only about
hmm.
2,000 British pounds, which is maybe less than half the price of the big ocean liners or river cruises that you know. But they
Hmm.
have the best entertainment in the world because this company owns the Gilbert and Sullivan National Opera Company of the UK.
Oh,
And not only do they bring their troupe with them on the boat, but they bring from other countries, wherever they're visiting, Montenegro in this case, Croatia in this case, they bring the best musicians from the shore to the boat when they dock. And the evenings are amazing, and the prices are really, really reasonable. So that's called Theatrical Adventure. I've been going with them personally for years. So, just hints and tips. Which reminds me that if you guys have a question, please go to fanlist.com/ageless traveler. You will find that in the show notes and ask me anything. It's been 121 countries and still counting. So I
wow.
know I know a thing or two. All right. Now let's finish up here with your visit to Thailand. The city of Bangkok is a very strange city. If nobody had visited it and they're listening, how would you describe that city?
It's a really big city. It's about 11 million people. It's goes on forever. There are 4 or 5 different neighborhoods that are good to visit. So you really have to prioritize and, plan your time. What are the kinds of things you want to see and how do you get to see them? It's really a lot of hustle and bustle. There, in some cases, 6 lanes of traffic with, cars across each, and then in between there's motorbikes that are
Yes, right.
that are driving, and the motorbikes sometimes have 4 people on them.
So remember that Thailand was Siam. So there's a huge, huge area that's just shopping. And Siam is one of the names of the hubs where you can just buy anything in the world. It's quite amazing. I also loved taking boat trips in
Hmm.
all over Thailand, but particularly Bangkok. And I also very much love, because I love comparative religion, going to the temples and going to all of the places where I could see exactly how they worship. Of course, there's a lot of art involved with that. And the only thing I missed that you did not miss, Merle, is the very finest food, because to some extent it's wasted on me. And yeah, and so you're a great traveler. You'll soon be in Croatia with an intergenerational trip, which is lovely. Toronto itself is a great place to visit.
Yeah.
And let's finish off with that. I have an association there because I'm part of the International Federation on Aging, which is in
Oh,
Toronto. It's
okay.
located in Toronto. So if you're going to Toronto, what would you tell people to see? Invite them to your city.
So Toronto is much smaller than Bangkok, but we also have some great neighborhoods to visit. We have a Chinatown. We have a couple of really great markets that you can go to and get fresh produce. There's a little Italy, a Greek town. So that's would be the most interesting for me. And when people come here, I try and take them to the different neighborhoods to visit.
And to see the whole all the ethnic mixes. It really
Mhm.
it's a really nice big little city. So we thank you so much. It's such an interesting thing to see what you have done, what you have created for your retirement. And it really is a fabulous inspiration. And of course,
Mhm.
really unretired. So if you can
Yeah.
give some words of wisdom to, say, younger people who are maybe thinking in their 50s or late 40s, what will I do with retirement? I can't even imagine it. It's going to be nice for a while and then I don't know. What would you say to them to prepare
I
me?
would say start practicing before you retire and put in place some things that you enjoy. If you don't know what you enjoy because you've been so busy all your life, take the time to think about it and come up with a plan for, some regular things that you're going to do. Make sure you've got, one or two things already in place before you retire. It'll make it much easier after.
For sure. And I did have my podcast before then, and it does make it much easier. So I love the motto, well, everybody who says it can't be done, get out of the way of the people who are doing it. And you, Super Bubbie, are definitely doing it. And for everybody else, you know what I'm going to say? Never stop traveling.